24th. We're here for a regular council meeting. We're going to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Here.
Mr. Pollitt?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Ms. Call?
Here.
Mr. Key?
Here. We have under our meeting, we have under our consent agenda, 2 meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve by consent?
Make a motion to approve the agenda by consent.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. I see just a couple corrections on the second set of minutes for August 10th. Tammy, if you would note, or Julie, under Resolution 21-34, that should be GAC contractors. And also under discussion of sunset approval for utility applications. That is simply worded so that, Guth County does not have a sewer line to take back. That sewer line that's down there is owned by the city. So when we say that we're asking them to take the sewer line per the original agreement, that's just an incorrect statement and very misleading. We need to simply say that we are sending, I believe the discussion was we're going to send a letter to Guth County advising them that we have no more sewer capacity.
Okay.
Not for them to take the line back because it's not theirs. Is that correct?
I don't believe so. I have the contract in my office.
You're saying that
That sewer line was, according to the agreement that I have in my office, it's an interlocal agreement. They built it for that facility. They installed it over to here. All we were doing was accepting the effluent and then maintaining the line. And once they built their own system, it would go back to them. But that's my understanding on what I read through it, and I read through an awful lot of stuff. But
that was before, but everything I've ever known was that the city put that line.
With the contract, they paid for to put it in. The contract Mario got. That's what I read too.
Well, where they hooked to?
they hook to our sewer system at 386. So all they're doing is dumping sewer into our system, and we maintain it because.
Is that right? So in other words, they put that line.
Yeah, my understanding was the line was put in by Gulf County and then reached out to Mexico Beach to accept the flow. Now, as far as who maintains what,
Then I may stand correct. I was under the understanding that we let them put a line in and hook to our line at the county line.
yes, that's my understanding.
And so from physically, why are we giving permission for them to hook to? Because we're accepting the flow, is that what?
We're accepting the flow, and again, the interlocal says they install it and we maintain it for standard cost.
Then I stand corrected. It sounds like it sounds like are we good then that we're asking them to take back the sewer line?
I have notified Clay Smallwood that the line has reached capacity. I forwarded the email that we received from Dewberry saying that it had reached capacity. I also sent him a copy of the contract that said after 4 years that they would take over the line. So it's in their hands right now.
Okay.
So
Let it roll.
Let it go.
they literally don't have a way of taking it over because again, back in
Yeah.
2001, they thought they were gonna be running sewer, and again, people think of things that don't come to
I
fruition.
guess here, and maybe this isn't the time, but it's just, if they take it over, they still have to get permission to hook to their line because we're servicing that line? Is that how that's gonna work? This seems a little,
Again, this agreement was done in 2001, but what I'm interpreting from the agreement was that Gulf County was gonna put in a sewer system. The day that they put in that sewer system, then instead of it flowing to us, it would just flow through their sewer system.
yeah, but 20 years later, they haven't done that.
Exactly. So there can't be the transition that was implied. We're going to continue to take their flow, otherwise
But
we
they
shut
can't
it.
authorize somebody to hook to it
No,
without us.
correct. The system is maxed the way that it is. I've notified them that the system is maxed the way that it is,
Okay.
and I've notified them that there won't be any more connections,
Okay.
and also notified them that if there's any cost above and beyond the normal cost of operating a system, that we would be sending them bills.
Okay.
And Kevin looked through his last couple, 3 years to see if there's some bills that we can send them, and they had a heads up, so we may be sending them a couple bills.
Well, I've had to call state because for letting them use our line, so I don't know that they know they own it either. So, but anyway, I think that's here to there. All right, is there a motion is there any opposition to the minutes other than the one correction for GAC? Let the record reflect that motion passes 5-0. Okay. Citizen comments. I think everyone here knows the rules. Identify yourself. If it's an agenda item, hold your comments until such time. If not, floor is open for citizen comments.
What is on the agenda? I'm sorry.
It's on the agenda.
Yeah.
Please hold your comments till such time as the agenda item comes up.
Right. Well, I think the posts are on
It's
the
on the
agenda.
agenda.
Okay, that's all. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Rock's not here. Rock's not here.
Oh. I didn't think of that. That's why I said rock. Okay.
He's on vacation.
Yes.
Oh, it is. All right, are there any, no, all right, we'll close the floor for our citizen comments and move to, Morrow Financials,
Debbie's actually on vacation, so she will not be on the call. She should be here for the meeting on the 8th, I believe. So
September 8th is our first,
September 8th is when you, I think it's when you adopt your budget. So that is a special meeting.
that's the 5 o'clock.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And the reason that it's on September the 8th is we have to dance around the school board in Bay County, so
Right.
we shuffled to that date, and that's where we fell. So she will be here for that. The notices have gone out for the ad valorem changing, so that the world has been notified on that. And then we have a standard meeting on the 13th. She'll probably give us an update on the 13th.
Okay. Sandy?
Morning, everybody. Back in 2019, the city and fire department got a grant to retrofit the fire station, which enabled us to build upstairs and move our apparatus to the bay here. We have now completed that grant. We have spent all the money in basically setting up the fire department to, in a lot of cases, better than it was even before the storm. Other than the fact that we are in a smaller building, but we have better apparatus, better equipment, and so on and so forth. That is completed, and the final paperwork will be going into the state later on this month, just to ratify everything, to verify that we spent it in the right places, and so on and so forth. We had a safety audit by the State Fire Marshal's Office that was completed yesterday, which enables us to apply for more grants for the next 3 years. We passed, bar one piece of paper I couldn't find last night at 8 o'clock at night when she was here, which I have to send her today because I found it on my desk right in front of me where she was literally sat yesterday. Typical. But that was passed and everything was good there. The radio transfer from the old analog system to the digital system, which is the reason for the antenna at the end of the building, has now been completed. It now means that both ourselves and Bay County Sheriff's Office, who made that transfer earlier, have much better coverage within the city, especially within the buildings in the city. So now firefighters, when they go into a building, will be able to talk to those of us outside and or dispatch with better clarity than before. And other than that, it's business as usual, the usual things that we need to do on a daily basis, checks and so on and so forth. And if anybody has any other questions, yes, sir.
Just one further note, the permanent location for the antenna is probably about 350 feet in that direction. And the contractor that's in charge of that has received the permits from Bay County, so that work should start in the next month or so.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate it. Sheriff's report.
Welcome in. Crowds are down, traffic's down. We really haven't had a whole lot of crime to report this time. Got any questions?
That's a good thing.
Suggestions? Let us know. We'll keep up with business.
Questions?
Well, get Barton back, it takes him to go.
I'll send him.
He does a lot
Oh,
of
God,
good.
he talked too much.
Send him graphics, and power slides, and everything else.
Good pass.
All
All right, moving on. Moving on. Gina, good to see you back. You have any comments?
We've issued 4 new residential building permits since the last meeting, so pretty slow. I guess everybody went back to school and back to work. And that's about it. Nothing exciting going on. Any questions?
All right,
Comments?
questions?
Concerns?
No? I appreciate it. That's, 4 is still better than 0. We're moving on. Thank you, Gene. I think Kathy's gone. Is there any report there? Okay, she's out this week. Tommy?
Good morning, Mayor, Council. First, I want to put a little thanks in to all the city employees last Monday when we had the storm. They worked very hard in some adverse conditions throughout the city. Helped with flooding and different issues. They did an excellent job. I just wanted to let them know thank you for all the hard work they did. First on my list, the dredge, give a dredge report. We did dredge yesterday. The canal is fully open again. We have a little build up, but in the past week, Troy and Nick replaced the 10-inch pipe inside the dredge. It had some holes in it, and it needed to be done. It was a very close quarter, time-consuming job, but I want to say thank you to them guys. They got that in, and that was some much-needed repairs that we needed to do to the dredge. But like I said, they have got the canals fully open. Stormwater ongoing. We worked on Monday, the day of the storm. We stayed out in it pretty much to about 3:30 that afternoon, tracing out lines. It was a good time for us to be able to see some of the problems that we had. The city went through, done pretty good, for the situation of the storm. Hopefully we didn't have too many places flood out, but we've got some good info now that we can kind of correct some of those problems. The work that we did on 15th Street really paid off. We had a good flow going out towards 386. So it's just going to be a little bit of time, but we're working on it. We're going to get it. Give you an update on the street signs. We are putting those signs together and installing them. So we started over around Magnolia, Azalea. That area is going to work our way from one side of town to the other. So those signs are being put up now. Just please be patient with us. Got limited crews, so it's going to take us a little while, but we will get all the signs put up. Still cutting grass throughout the city. Rock's not here today. I want to give him an update on the street lighting. I talked with Duke. We are going to get him some lights on Colorado. After doing a little more research, found out that Texas, California, Azalea doesn't even have a street light. Rock does have one, so he's ahead of those 3 streets now. But we are going to get the street lights put back up over there. So working on that. Sidewalk report, spoke with FDOT. Because of the storm and the rain we've had, it's kind of pushed them back a little bit on getting our sidewalks repaired and the ones put in there in front of the club. But they are going to get started on that pretty soon. they're just, kind of like I said, the weather's kind of pushing back a little on that. Sanitation report, so far for the month of August, we picked up 159,240 pounds of trash. So pretty much on the course for what August normally is. Other than that, we're just doing business as usual, trying to get ready for the fishing tournament coming up this weekend down at the boat ramp, the big tournament, so working on that. Anybody got any questions?
Are we gonna hold it there at the boat ramp instead of there?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll be at the boat ramp.
The street lighting, can you help me out with a clap? When you see the man over in her neighborhood, she's the only one that lives there. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Of course you do.
Yeah, I will. I'll talk to you about
She
it.
don't have a light, and she's there at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're missing a lot of lights throughout the city. They were doing a report on it, but I told the guy I was speaking with, we need to, some of these streets have none, and just like I said, Texas, California, Arizona, there's not even a street light on them. And, we need to get some lights put in there, so we're working on that.
Thank you.
Question? Thank you. All right, Kevin?
Utilities are going good. We did say good job with my guys in the utility department during that storm. We did have an overflow. We're still sampling that. We're starting to drop, so that's looking good there. We also had a problem with the fluoridation room. I don't know if lightning got it or what happened there, but we lost fluoridation for a while. We worked on that for several hours, got it back up and running. Other than that, everything's going pretty well. Fixing leaks and checking on backflows and doing our day-to-day job.
All right. Kevin, I got a question. I talked to you that the day of the storm, and you mentioned to me that there were multiple, and I don't know how to define that, multiple connections that were broken off, and we were getting an influx of stormwater through sewer, uncapped or broken sewer laterals.
Yeah, we're fixing them constantly. They get hit with lawnmowers and different things. Some of the inflow is probably coming from manholes through the years, seeping through where they stack them out when they got put in. And a lot of the covers need to be replaced as well. Stop some of that.
We haven't
People
done
hit
it.
stuff, right and left. They're hitting the covers, they're hitting laterals, and we're trying to fix them as fast as we can.
On the sewer manhole lids, I know that we've received, or in the process of receiving, I think it's $80,000 or $90,000 to literally replace all of the manhole lids with a watertight lid. And also, I would like to say this: when we have a hurricane, when we have 8 inches of rain, when we have acts of God, we do pretty darn good. If you look at Lynn Haven, they literally had entire neighborhoods underwater. If you look at Panama City, they had complete roads underwater. When we get those type rains, it's inevitable that we're going to have some level of inflow. But in any city, it is a good diligent thing for us to do is to cap all those. And there are probably some owners that have a yard that might pull a cap off of their yard because they know that if they pull that cap at their cleanup, it drains the water. When people do that, it overwhelms our system. The overflow that Kevin had over the hurricane weekend was at a low spot where a lot of water goes into our sewer system, not our stormwater system, but our sewer system. When that water goes in there, it pumps it to the next pump, it pumps it to the next pump, and so on and so on. And when that much water comes into the system, it's impossible to capture. I know that right after the storm, and I'm going to look in this direction, they did smoke test the sewer system. And things should have been fixed at that point. But again, when you smoke test, when everything is lying on top of everything, you may not find all the leaks, and with all the construction that's gone on over the last 30 months, things are uncovering. So it's an ongoing dilemma for any and every city. But a city that's gone through as much damage as this, it is going to be Band-Aid after Band-Aid to deal with. And they're doing a good job, but there's still a long ways to go. Once we get those watertight lids, that should help quite a bit, because if you have a lid, to give you an idea, out on Miramar, there's a lid that when it rains, that lid is underwater. Well, that lid is not designed to be watertight, so water just constantly seeps from that mud puddle into there. These lids that we did through, I think it was a mitigation project.
It was part of, it was like the mitigation to the
Is replacing every one of those lids with a watertight one. Part of the process for getting that approved was a GPS point for, is it 500?
Yeah, it's like 500.
There's 500 lids out there. 500 places where water's currently drifting in. Once that's done, it'll help the system.
Well, I understand that there are adverse conditions to create that, but there's also, I don't know what we pay to process stormwater through our sewer system, but we're paying for that. We're processing that as sewer. And the same problems that are showing up every time we have a storm, maybe we could put that on a priority list to attempt to address those. If there's a way to pinpoint those, I don't know. I'm just raising, I'm saying that it seems to be the same issues. And that's not anything but being proactive in trying to find a way to stop the processing so much stormwater through our sewer system. Anything else for Kevin?
I like it, whatever you're talking about. Kevin, when the house was demolished, or house was blown away, or whatever that house was, I'm trying to add to what the mayor said. Because I was out there, and these lots is empty. Did we cap the sewer line off at the road, or we do not?
Yeah, if you drive around town, you'll see where houses used to be, you'll see them sticking up.
If you don't see that, and you know a house was there.
Contractor went around and capped all them off.
We know that. We have a lot of water now that comes through.
But like I said, on them houses that were damaged from the hurricane, the contractor went around and capped all those. There's a few they missed that we've capped and went around. And if they issue a demo for a property and it hadn't been capped, we go out there and cap it. We seal it off.
Okay.
I got a few though that's been, I know the house was there, but it don't have a pipe sticking up that I'd like to. But I get with
Some are ground level.
what I'm worried about is, like he said, the lateral, I think what you told me, it's just a piece of pipe sticking out there and all this rainwater, it's in a low place, but that water's just running in that pipe. It might be capped, I don't know.
Yeah,
but I'm
most
just saying.
of them should be capped. What I've had issues with in the past, years ago, would be like Arizona, New Mexico areas. We get a lot of rain, homeowners go across the street, pop it off. I've seen them sawed off, drilled holes in them. I mean, they don't want to flood. But, you know, you're going to have issues like Mario said when you get that kind of rain.
I get with you.
Thank you, Kevin. David, what you got?
Yes, sir. Sunset Park, we did hear back. FWC has approved our lighting plan on the pavilion. So we are just now waiting for the DEP to write the final order. Could be 60 days, hopefully sooner. I've been asking them to say speed that one up a little bit for us. But Bonvic is poised, ready to start construction as soon as we get that. We're in good shape. I'm working on the stormwater pipes that are eligible for the FEMA funding right now. I've got the pipes identified on the plans, and the DEP also includes some roadside ditches, so I'm going through those now. 3 spreadsheets and 3 or 4 different maps I got to kind of pull together and put into one. So I should have that in the next week or two for everyone to look at and review, and then we'll give it Ryan and Mario to see what the next step is. And once we get through that, then we can kind of take a look at the larger areas that just might need a new ditch or an upsized pipe or something like that. But right now, we're just concentrating on what FEMA would approve for funding. And then going on the utility stuff that we just talked about, you know, a lot of it could be, you know, these old manholes were all brick and mortar, or from the base or just raising to the lid, you know, that could be leaking. You know, they may need to go in and be lined as well. I don't know if that was part of the work that was done, or lining the manholes.
I don't remember if that one did. I know we had the toppers.
Yes. So,
We relined about, I mean, 5-6 years ago.
We lined several, and the ones that we have relined in the past, they're getting up there in years, and some of those are starting to fail, you know, because they only last just so long.
yeah.
But that would be awesome if we could get every manhole spray lined and sealed. Like I said, they're leaking at the joints where they stack them, like you said, brick and mortar. They got like a tar gasket that runs around there that matches it together. And a lot of times it'll fail right there in those seams, and that water just runs down. Especially the amount of water we get now, the groundwater table's up, it's pushing against that manhole.
Is there FEMA funding to address any of those issues?
CDBG.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, any of our disaster funding is gonna have to be storm damage to get it for public assistance, but you'd have, like CDBG has the infrastructure program.
Okay.
that you could-
We need to-
And the American Recovery Plan also has,
Well, we
there's
need
two
to
funding.
get on that list. I'm curious, FWC, did they approve enough lighting that somebody down there at night can see what they're doing?
It's 6, I believe it's 6 low watt, maybe 10 watt amber lights that are on the post, about 6 foot high, and then there's some step lights on the stairs leading up to it for safety so you don't trip. And I think they had they wanted the bathroom lights on timers, and then they wanted the bathroom doors to self-close, so if someone could be using it at night, it didn't stay open and cast a light where the turtle would think, you know, moves the other way. It's going to be pretty dim. I wouldn't anticipate any nighttime usage.
Turtles. Here, non-turtle season can be,
Yeah, you can probably bring it there.
bring it up.
Yeah, right,
50 watt.
lantern.
Thank you. Any questions for Dewberry?
David, this stormwater thing really needs to be addressed. In my neighborhood, I've got water standing up against my foundation. Every time it rains, I got water standing around my house, my shed. Lady next door, she's got a lake. Okay? When her lake gets too big, it runs into my yard. Back behind is the same thing. And it just can't go on. It's going to ruin everybody's property
Right.
and my home.
Right. Well, I think
And not just me.
right. We've gotten a good start. I mean, the stuff, the plan I'm working on now, consider that we got the 48-inch pipe that runs down in Florida, and then I'm looking at the box culvert too. The box culvert's not getting repaired or replaced; it's going to get repaired. The 48-inch that runs is going to get replaced, and then there's several feeder pipes just along the area down around Colorado where we were working, Tommy. There's pipes around there that are going to get replaced. And then some others around the city. But the main thing we're looking at now outside of FEMA was basically once all that water gets to a certain location, over the years it's just been blocked, clogged, buried. I mean, it's got nowhere to go. So we're trying to open that path up because it doesn't matter if we get the water to it. We got to get the water out into the major ditches in the canal.
Right.
It kind of all flows together. It's a big program.
Right. It just needs to be addressed as soon as possible.
We're working on it.
Anything else? Yes, sir.
Just a comment, if you don't mind. My name's Charles Tyler. We live on the corner of 5th and New Mexico. We have, of course, New Mexico has water issues, of course. There's something around the curve of 5th, you know, where 5th goes around the curve, there's a dirt road that goes back there beside St. Joe. Something's wrong back in that area there. I don't know what it is. I haven't been back there, but the water stops there when it crosses 5th, and it builds up
Right.
that area. So I'm just letting you know. I'm sure you already know, but there's something wrong with the flow there. It backs up to us, backs up to people across the street, and because we take all the water, my property takes all the water in all of New Mexico, and because it comes to our side of the street, and then it crosses the other side of New Mexico, then it crosses back over 5th It goes down Fifth to the ditch we're talking about. And it just, there's something wrong in that area that's blocking it. And it's downstream from us, I think, you know, that's what it seems like. Anyway, just wanted to, thank you.
I've been walking down that road, and it flows very slowly,
Mm-hmm.
but it should be flowing a lot faster.
Right.
Yes, you're right, something's got it blocked.
So, yeah, something's got blocked downstream somewhere. I don't know what it is. You know, I've got no business going down that dirt road, so I don't go down it. So, but there's something down there, you know.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you, David. Ryan?
Yes. First off, good news. I think some of you may have heard already. But we did get the second dredge project obligated, which is big for us. So we're just going to start working with Crowder Gulf to try to get task force representative to get that moved as quick as we can, because I know that's a big priority for everyone. But good news. I know I've been saying, I think for probably 6 or 7 meetings in a row that it's been sitting in the EHP, the environmental review, and stop now, and fully obligated. So
17 months.
yep, long time. Agreed. And a lot of it's sitting in PHP, but it's obligated now. So that's the first big step. Second, I had on here submitted the $2 million advance request for the debris, remaining eligible debris work. Hasn't come through yet, but I'm hoping here in the next 2 to 3 weeks we'll get that money into the system and get those invoices paid out. We also hopefully are going to be getting here in the next week or so another $750,000 for an old Cat B project that is a lot of just like the emergency protective measure work. So that'll be some more money coming into the city system, which will be good. The jetty project, we have submitted our benefit cost analysis to FEMA. They actually turned around and had a first set of questions for us pretty quickly, which I take as a good sign. That means they're looking at it. We addressed those last week, and now we're just in the stage where I imagine kind of going back and forth with them on this. Pier project, good news on that one too. I think we're very close to agreement with FEMA on the scope on that one. We just have one line item in question, which is the welcome sign that, if you guys remember, got completely destroyed. The one that was sitting at the foot of the pier. So people was asking us for substantiation that actually existed. So we had to go back to some old aerials to show them a shadow on the map that it actually existed. Hopefully that should satisfy them, and that'll be the last item that we're in disagreement on with them on the pier. So
Pier's gone, but they were about the same side.
yes. And then on the municipal complex, that's the one we're still in sort of the toughest debate with FEMA on. They had a bunch of questions that they asked us about that one, and we have now replied to it over the weekend. They're saying that basically they're going to write a termination memo on it after this, which basically says, here's what we think is eligible. If you guys don't like that, then you're going to have to take it up to headquarters to appeal it. So we're preparing already in our minds for that eventuality, if that's where we need to go. But we're kind of essentially at the end of the JFO FEMA folks road on this one. So that's kind of the downside of the report this week. Good news on the overall, we hit that $100 million obligation amount, which is something I've been talking about for a while that I figured we would hit, and now everything to me beyond that, it's not a bonus, but we're just increasing our obligated amount, which is good. We're up to $75 million in payouts, and I think that's up probably $3 or $4 million from last time I was here. So we're continuing to do good on that and get the reimbursements. Obviously, as projects get obligated, that amount goes up, and our pay amount keeps following along with it as we try to get reimbursements on the projects. So that's my update. Oh, and sorry, I forgot to mention our CDBG-DR infrastructure program and HMGP applications, or HMGP match applications. Those are due in December. We've started kind of looking at those. I think I mentioned to you guys last time. The projects that didn't get funded in round one of the CDBG program, Hopefully we'll be able to reuse a lot of that information for our round 2 ones. And like I said, we have about a month now before we have to get all those in. So any questions? That's all I had. Any questions?
Ryan, are the only two unobligated projects of the pier and the fire police?
The jetty has not been obligated yet. We're still working. That's where we're working on the benefit cost analysis piece of it.
East side jetty, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, east.
Or east and west is what we're doing. Yeah.
So there's 3.
Yeah, there's 3. And then the other one that's not obligated, which is no money coming to you guys, is the volunteer hours. We put that in just basically to get our obligated amount up to show all of the donations of time and resources. But so that was technically not obligated, but.
And those 3 projects are probably in excess or very close to $20 million.
I think so. That's what I've been estimating about. The piers coming in somewhere in the 8 to 10 million range, depending on where we end up. The jetties in the 2 million range, and the police fire. Obviously, we're fighting a lot with FEMA on it, but we're estimating it, I think, in the 8 million range. So, yeah, that's all told about 20 million.
So the 20 million for the jetty, for the pier.
10,
That's total.
9 to 10.
That's total of what's out there.
Okay, 8 to 10 for the pier,
Yeah,
and then
2 for the jetty, and I think it's like 8 or 9 for the police fire.
okay.
Any questions for the acting for Ryan about our project?
I'd like to give them kudos. I can tell you that both Dina and Ryan worked throughout the weekend. Their response to FEMA's 5 pages of questions was 160 pages worth of response. I sincerely hope that they give it the respect that it's due for all the effort that they put into it. I can tell you that they've done this exact same routine for the dredge. Keep in mind, a year ago, almost to the date, they had said that we had done all the dredging we were ever going to do, and they were even going to claw back at the dredging that we had done. And Ryan and Dina, everybody else pulled together, and Dewberry all pulled together and put a response back to that opened the door up, including the letters that we got from locals saying that their boats draw 5 feet, not 2 feet. And we're now seeing the fruit of that, which is $8 million. So again, we've been at this. We're about to lose the war and succeed. Granted, it took 17 months to get there, but a success is a success. And I'd like to say thank you to the team behind me that's helped put all that together.
Yeah, that's a team effort.
Yeah. I want to follow up that dredging thing was unbelievable what we went through to be asked to continue to use the questions and the methodology and the documentation was beyond anything that I could imagine that we could do, and I saw firsthand what went into that. So to all of you, thank you very much. That canal is a lifeline to this city, and we are due to have it put back the way it was before Michael, and it's just a shame we had to go through that. But hopefully the fire police will prove to be, as Mario said, hopefully they will give it its just due. Those answers and the questions that I read, I don't know, but you want
for sure.
But thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Regular agenda items. First is resolution 21-35, which is, as we can see, is a task order to approve the architectural design or the redesign for the boat and canal pavilions. $24,350. One comment before we discuss or question. In the actual resolution that we have, it says that the city is working to have a task order between Dewberry Engineer and the city. I believe that should read that it's to be DAG. And the actual wording, not up at the top, but in the body of the ordinance of the resolution, you'll see that it says it uses Dewberry. That needs to be corrected. Okay. Questions, comments, or,
I have a question.
okay?
So, we're doing a value engineering for 24,350 because why? I mean, did we think that what they did was over-designed or was not designed properly, or?
Can I answer that? I mean, I was here, so I hear more. If you'll see the letter that DAG presented, which has been in your packet, it essentially answers those questions. That there was no budget given by the prior administrator, and me being part of that group, it was that we would get reimbursed for, I guess there was, at that time, which goes back to the early times after the storm, money would be passed out for us to, because of mitigation, that we would get, we could prove to them that we would have something that was more hardened, and obviously that did prove to be the case. So we sort of put DAG out there. I'm using we, city, put DAG out there with not a lot of guidelines. For me, as I have for the last 3 years since Michael, I've been educated several times about how to proceed after a storm when you're dealing with thinking someone is going to just give you money. So, in a nutshell, for those people, when we signed that contract, unfortunately, as you can see from his letter, that they were designing things to withstand the test of time, hurricanes, to be durable, low maintenance, and aesthetically pleasing. And that's what they did. And so now, in order to meet the budget that we have been given, just as we did with the Welcome Center, to sort of value engineer, that's what they've done. They've scaled that back.
The majority of the reduction was square footage, that they had more square footage than you probably originally had. Another part of the reduction was the bathrooms that would have been 15 feet up in the air. We ended up doing a trailer that will help answer some questions in your future. If there is a hurricane and you know that you're going to have some level of storm surge, it would be quite easy for staff to come in and pull that trailer off to another location. And then we also had to relocate the fish cleaning station and the bathrooms and pavilion at the boat ramp due to us getting a grant to expand the boat ramp itself. So there were a couple other things that were incorporated within this work.
Okay, so I understand that why in this particular case, but it's something that we said before, that when we give projects out, no matter if FEMA or whoever's paying for them, we ought to, as a council and as citizens, give them some sort of budget to go with it. Just because FEMA's paying and it's a line item or whatever, doesn't matter. It's still money that comes out of everyone's pocket. I mean, because well, of course, I guess they just print it now, so maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But I just think that anytime we do anything with DAG or anybody else that's designing for something for us, we should give them some sort of guideline as to what we expect to pay for something. instead of just giving them carte blanche. So anyhow, just a comment.
Well noted. Other comments or motion to read resolution 2135 by title
Make a motion to read resolution 2135 by title only.
Second.
only? We have a motion and a second. Tammy, please read.
Resolution 2135. A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving a task order with DAG Architects for $24,350 for incorporation of value engineering to the Canal Park and Boat Ramp Pavilions design.
Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve resolution 2135.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy,
Yes.
Mr. Pollock,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Call,
Yes.
Mr. Key.
Yes.
Okay. Item 2 is a resolution 2136, which is a change order. Seems to be rather self-explanatory, which is from Bonnevic for a reduction and a closeout. Any questions about it before we make a motion to read it? Or you have anything to add other than what's in front of us?
Yes, sir. Just direct on a purchase that benefits the city and the community, so it's good practice.
If there's no questions, Chair will entertain a motion to read.
I make a motion we read resolution 21-36 by title only.
Second.
Motion second. Please read that.
Resolution 2136, a resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving the change order with Bonnevic Construction LLC for a reduction of $34,750.47 for final closeout of the Welcome Center construction contract.
Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve resolution 21-36.
Second.
Call the roll.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Is that a 428?
Which one?
Yes, that was a 428 project.
Yeah,
right?
this or wait, parks. Welcome Center.
Welcome Center was 428, right?
Yeah, it was.
One just kind of comment, Bonnevic sharpened their pencil, they've gotten 2 or 3 bids, and we appreciate them.
Absolutely.
They're doing a great job, and they've sharpened their pencil, which is evidently the reason they're getting these bids, so kudos to those guys, they're doing a good job.
Where does a final closeout credit go? Where does that, how is that handled?
Yeah, you mean in a 428 if you guys have extra money or less money, yeah. So the state's still actually kind of trying to work that out. 428 programs still so new that they're trying to work out the exact way that they want to do it. But right now, what we've been doing is when we have an overrun or an underrun, we either say, hey, we've got this overrun, we want to apply it to this one where we think it's going to underrun, or vice versa. I don't want to say it's a challenge, but as some of the 428 projects are still out there and we're not sure whether they're going to be overruns or underruns because we haven't bid them all yet. We're not exactly sure always where that's going to end up being because construction hasn't taken place, but we're basically kind of trying to handle it on an ad hoc basis with them as we go through.
But we are notifying
Yeah,
them that here's where we're standing.
Yeah, basically we're saying,
So we don't owe them.
especially on like a welcome center like this, if we overrun by X amount, then we're going to say, hey, we're over by this. We're probably going to try to pick this up with an underrun somewhere else. Is basically what we've been telling them. So that, I think that what's ultimately gonna happen is that the state's probably gonna try to handle that when we go officially to close out for the project, which is when we basically say, we're done with everything, we're ready to go, we want you to review the project. That's when I think they'll probably end up
Try to
trying
reconcile
to
it.
reconcile all that, but.
All right, this one is an addendum, number 2137. We all have that now that the blanks have been filled in. You can see that, what are we doing, buying a pump, purchase of a wastewater pump for a lift station. And it's from Tugwell, and it's for $12,675. And the only question I have is we've talked about pumps and so many times we had a lift station go out. Is that what this is all about?
This is a pump, and I believe it's on Florida.
6 in Florida.
6 in Florida that went down. If you drive by there today, there's probably a bypass pump there. That bypass pump was brought in an abundance of caution because of the hurricane, and it'll be there until this pump can be replaced. He did get 2 prices that he had to call in. One was at $21,000, the other one is at $12,000. Again, because we have pumps of this particular brand, we trade in and out between 2 different brands of this lower bid of the one brand.
Is this a budgeted item?
We have money in the budget. Because you have to
They have money in the sewer budget?
Yes.
So it's not it won't be a budget amendment.
Was this a traditional advertised bidding process, or did we have to just get quotes because of the timing and the
We have.
practicality?
This is one of those where there's only 2 pump manufacturers, and there's only 2 pump manufacturers in this region. You could call Nebraska, but Nebraska would say, thanks, but the Florida guy has to quote it. So again, Kevin knows to call the 2 manufacturers and get prices, and that's what he did.
Okay, questions or motion to read?
It was an emergency.
On the question I have, all the pumps we kept, are we rebuilding some of these pumps, or we just buying new?
One that's in there, they say can't be rebuilt.
But then the ones we got in the pile and stacked back here,
One's oversized, and I don't have one that'll go back in there and do what it needs to do.
I think we need to.
Well, some of these impellers are trimmed for certain flows, and so you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's designed for that station.
This is just coming from general funds, not any sort of grant money, right?
Well, not general fund, because this is a utility fund, but it's coming from the utility fund, yes.
Yeah, so I'm comfortable in the process.
Any other questions? Motion to read?
I make a motion to read resolution 21-37 by title only.
Second. Please read.
Resolution 2137. A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving a quote from Total Pump and Supply LLC for purchase of a wastewater pump for a lift station in the amount of $12,675.
Motion to approve resolution 2137.
Second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Patrick?
Yes.
Mr. Pollak?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Okay, and the last one on our resolution is 2138. And this is to simply sell surplus property. They're getting a 5% collection fee for our stuff. We'll call it junk, or we'll call it stuff.
So can we clarify lots? Lots doesn't mean dirt, it means
No,
pieces
that's right.
of equipment.
That's
So
right.
and they're set in lots, like a lot of three trucks or whatever. Okay, that's correct.
And when you look at their contract, it's not there.
Okay. All right.
Does it say in there, did they come get them? I'm hoping. I didn't never see it. Or do we have to take it to them, or how to get it to them, because sometimes we're gonna go in the hole by getting it to them.
I was talking to the gentleman in question the other day, and it would be a case of us and them. They would help us wherever necessary. Those that can be driven there will be driven there. Those that can't will go there on a low loader or a device.
Okay.
There was no talk about who paid for it to get it there, so that would have to be double checked. But he said he would help us wherever necessary.
Well, here it is right here. We will pay for all packing, handling, and transportation.
I had read that one, so there you go.
Okay, I read too fast. Some of it we need to call shotgun man. Okay.
All right, this is an agreement between the Auction Network LLC for Florida Auction to get rid of our surplus equipment.
I have a list of the items if you want to see it. Which you were already showed it in the past when we do it.
Yeah, the council approved the list.
Yeah, it was
months
ago. Got a motion to read?
Motion to read resolution 2138 by title only.
Second.
Have a motion second. Tammy, please read.
Resolution 2138, a resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving a contract with Florida Auction Network LLC, granting the exclusive rights to auction property at public auction collecting 5% of the hammer price for all lots sold.
Motion to approve resolution 2138.
Second.
Motion second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, next is the, Bobby, that's you?
That's me. After the meeting the other day, we were discussing about what to do with the post. That's just a small amount of stuff we have in easements. You go anywhere from trees to bushes to whatever. I rode around with code enforcement part of a day just to see what we had. We don't have a small amount. We have a large amount of people that over the years agreed, some Michael, some before, that has put stuff in the easements. We have, as a city, had blind eye on some of it. We have some has been allowed, some has been questioned. In saying that it is largely throughout the city, it is. You can use any reasoning, being in a curve in the road, people parking on people's grass. You got all of it. This has been done over the past years. We had allowed it to happen. And to tell these people that, well, we didn't see it till now, so now you got to tear up your property, you got to do all this or whatever. In thinking that, I'm thinking it's wrong. Agreed, if anything had to be done where these posts, trees, whatever it is, has to be taken up, it's going to be taken up and not put back for whatever the reason. If you had to do a ditch, if you had to do water lines, whatever you got to do. I am under the opinion we should grandfather what's in there, stop whatever is done from now on, be diligent about it, as we have not been before. With the understanding that, again, if something has to be dug up, taken up, whatever, it will not be replaced, and it'll be the responsibility of the owner. This is, again, I take responsibility as part of this council, as part of this city, and this happening but there is probably, every one you see out there, there's a different reason for it to be there. I've received emails about it. I've talked to other citizens about it. I just don't think we should just, right now, say, grab up all this stuff that's been laid out for over the years, and it's gone. It's wrong. So when it's time, after discussions, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, so let me just sort of clarify something. Letters have been mailed out based on the last meeting. And so from the last meeting to this meeting, you didn't think the letter should go out?
I tried to stop the letter, but it was too late.
Well, we agreed to send it.
Yeah, no, we agreed to. We did not vote on anything. We just agreed to send letters out.
Okay. I'm just trying to make sure I understand
Yeah,
that.
I understand.
So it's a little. All right, so.
But with the letters being sent out and nothing's been done, I'm sure, throughout the whole city, except the letters being sent out.
I would agree. I doubt anything is, other than concerned about people wanting to protect their property.
30 days, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay? So we're gonna reopen the I guess, right-of-way discussion. Any other comments?
Nick, can you kind of give us any kind of clarification, based on what we're supposed to do?
Sure. And I don't know if it's what you're supposed to do, but it's what you can do. With right-of-ways, you have almost total discretion to protect your right-of-way interests, to keep them clear. Your land development code says that the city can permit temporary obstructions in the right-of-way, but it's also your discretion if you want to change what the city is doing with right-of-ways, you certainly can. I would avoid anything that would create real safety problems, because that could eventually create liabilities for you. But it's really the council's choice about what to do here. And with right-of-ways, you do have strong common law rights and within your own codes to prevent and clear obstructions. But if you think that's a poor policy based on what's occurred over the years, that's your choice as well. As far as liability to folks, if the city removes those items, you could run into a couple of cases where someone puts together a strong case of how they got approval or how the city waives its rights, but we'll just have to deal with those as they come. I'm not sure if any of those would succeed, but it's a risk that we may have to defend those. But absence of written agreement, I think our case would be strong on this.
What is the liability for the city? It's our property, it's not their property. They put an obstruction out there, we allow it to be there. Somebody hits it, tears the car up, or causes some damage to something, and it's on our property.
There's a possibility for liability. The judges have to evaluate that and decide if the city's conduct was reasonable. It would be very case-by-case scenario. Why is the obstruction there? What is the design of it? How dangerous is it? Is it reasonable for it to be there? It's a good reason. So it's you can't really predict those on a broad level, but there's a chance for liability.
Okay.
We have insurance, of course. We have insurance. I think would apply.
So would we get into any situation if we allow, like Bobby said, to grandfather in, and then with other people not being able to do it? So is that what you're saying, Bobby? Whoever hasn't done it can't do it now, and those who have done it?
If somebody wanted to do it, it would have to go through the council. From that, what we got to do, we can't change what's been done in the past, but we can start something now.
Well, would would that just go to the administrator, or would that come to the council? I mean, because it's an LDR issue.
What decision are you asking about?
If somebody, I mean, would it have to come to the council if somebody said, hey, I want to put posts up on my property? Is that something we would have to decide? I mean, it's in the LDR, we can't do it.
Well, I think under what Bobby's describing, the answer would just be no. But as far as the LDR, where it talks about the city allowing a temporary obstruction, it doesn't say. So normally those items, unless they're very minor, would come to the council. It's not stated. It's not clear.
Well, you know, the worst parts of having this done is on the beach side, those houses that kind of dead end into the dunes, where there's no parking for those people. So, and I know in years past, everybody just went down and they couldn't block the people's driveway, but they were allowed to park. There's a lot of people that you can't take your golf cart across. So those people that want to utilize that section, you know, if they don't have a place to park, they can't go to the beach. And so, and those are, a lot of those are just cables. So are you thinking that those need to be left up? Just the cables where they've got their whole life blocked off? You can't even turn around on the road.
Yeah, I mean, you got every reason in the world not to, you got every reason in the world to do it. You have there's roads in this city, not just on the beach side, that's got the whole drive completely blocked. I personally wouldn't want to pay you to put pavers all over my place and people come in and park in there to go to the beach. I'm sorry. I wouldn't do it.
Well, the driveway, they're not supposed to block the driveway anyhow. That's typically where the pavers go.
They're not supposed to do a lot of things, but they would.
You know, it doesn't matter to me personally.
Well, you brought it up.
I brought it up because somebody asked me to bring it up. And it was a fact of the matter was that this whole road had nothing but cables on it. And it was brought to my attention. I brought it up so that the city would be aware that there is an issue with doing it.
Yeah.
So it was an informative thoughtful topic. Just like Al asked me, he said, why are you putting that on the agenda? And I said, well, because I don't think anybody in the city knows, because it's getting to the point where everybody's doing it. There's a lady over on one of those streets that's advertising on Facebook, you need to do this before, so you can keep these people off. And she's helping them, showing them how she did hers. So I just.
Well, it opened up a can of worms.
Well, the can of worms has already been opened. And it's not easy. Not everything's not easy and straightforward. It's like Charles and Betty's place. Their property corner's in the road, in the actual pavement by about 12 feet. So literally, he could go stick a post, and he would be within his rights because it'd be on his property, and it would be like 12 feet, isn't that roughly?
About 15 feet out into the pavement, yeah. Into the intersection.
Yeah, it's
a triangle-shaped intersection.
So he could literally do that and put a fence in right up to that, because that's his property. And then, so the right of way is, roughly 12 feet past that. So there's a lot of screwy things.
That's what I'm saying.
So tell me again. I mean, I don't. It doesn't matter. It's not something I brought up because I was mad about it. I brought it up for a discussion so we could discuss what's allowable, what's not allowable, so that people out there would know what they can and they can't do. Simple. My personal opinion is I wouldn't want somebody to park on my ground or my yard. But then again, I also understand that my yard doesn't start until 12 feet back from the road. So if somebody wanted to come and park in my front yard in an area that I've got rock, I mean, if they had something to do there other than, I guess they could get out. What's the law, Lieutenant, on parking on somebody's yard if it's the right of way?
This is the right of way, it's covered under the city.
So what's that mean?
Just the city ordinance or whatever that y'all deem fit on the right of way.
Okay, so they could park in my yard if it's in, not my yard, but the right of way that's in front of my yard.
If the city allows it, then it's allowed.
Your city code has a few pages on parking rules, and I think that the general rule on that is you follow the signage. And a lot of these neighborhoods wouldn't have signs, but the ones that do, the rules, whatever the city signs say. The city posts signs, things like no parking, or no overnight parking, or parking allowed here, and those set the rules. But if there's no signs at all, I'm not certain what the result is.
But Daryl was saying the ways over on Panama City Beach, when we have problems with parking and stuff like that, the county will come in and put no parking signs up there to reinforce it, and then we enforce it.
Okay, so
If you don't want parking, you put a sign up, we'll work with it.
okay, so the homeowner would put up a sign, no parking?
No, city's right of way.
They would have to call the city.
City would make a determination on the right of way and putting up signs.
So that's my suggestion anyhow, was to, if you want to do something out there, you think you have an extenuating circumstance or for some reason, then what you should do, rather than just go ahead and do it, is call the city first.
Yes.
And ask the city. Gina, there's nothing else that you know that we need to add, is there? She's going even over mouth, okay. All right.
I see.
Okay, well, I mean, that's all I wanted to say.
Well, I think the can of worms you're talking about here is much greater. I think it's, again, we as a group have a responsibility to protect the city land. That's why we're going to make all these exceptions and want to think then that they're the rule when the LDR and this city has protected public parking and right-of-ways since the inception of this town. That's why you don't see no parking signs everywhere just to protect what somebody wants to call their yard. We've never done that. To me, the common law is simple. What's yours is yours and what's ours is ours. That we want to make an exception as the rule because somebody wants to block what's not theirs, therein lies the problem. And we want to call that now we want to make it okay for them to do that. So I just have to think fast forward, if that's, I'm not for, if somebody wants to do it, come and talk to the council. The LDR says you can't have a permanent obstruction in the right of way. I don't really understand why we would.
Only if it's temporary.
That's what I said. If you cannot have a permanent obstruction in the right of way. That's been there since 1991. That didn't change. And now all of a sudden, we want our town so that you can't pull off the road. I mean, that's what you're saying. There probably are some exceptions to that, but they're certainly not. They're not so widespread that we should just take the rule out of the book. Our property, meaning city property, in terms of right of way and the access to that covers more than just digging a ditch. When you can't pull off and turn around and a garbage truck has to back all the way up the street, and that's excessive. And so when people, that's what happens. I think we've let it has gotten to where we have concrete pylons now on the side of the road, not just a road. We have other places that have big boulders out by the side of the road where you can't pull off. I don't see why we would want to, unless it's a special exception that someone said, here's why I did this. But if it's to protect something that's not theirs, well then, we'll just change the LDR so it doesn't say that. Well, just take that out and just say, you can rope off, you can put out there what you want. And if somebody needs to pull off and can't, well then just tough luck. I'm not for abandoning our right of ways because somebody wants to protect their grass or they don't like that somebody turned in and had to turn around and back up. I find that, quite frankly, ludicrous that we would consider that. That's all I got to say.
I have a question.
Just a second. Does anybody else at the table got anything to say? I don't know who's back there. Oh, okay. All right. What you got?
Over the past 20 years that I've been here, this question has come up in years past, way past. And I was told years ago that there were 3 reasons for the city right-of-way. One is because it is the location of the utility lines. Got our water and sewer pipes under there and a lot of fiber optic cables under there. The second reason is the right-of-ways were always part of the stormwater drainage plan. This was back when we had a lot of ditches in there. The third reason was the right-of-way was for public use, for public parking and public walking. And it is strange to me that people do not understand that private property stops where your surveyor stakes say it they do. From the surveyor stakes to the edge of the asphalt is public right-of-way. There is no set public right-of-way depth. It varies on how the street was laid out. So in some cases, it's really out of whack. But that public right-of-way belongs to the city. And there should not, according to the LDR, be anything to block that right-of-way. We don't have pullovers on our streets. Our streets are tiny. When there is a gathering or people want to park on the street, they're supposed to be able to park on the public right-of-way. Because if they park in the street, then they block the traffic. So it does not make any sense to tell private property owners that they can block the city right-of-way simply because they don't want the grass disturbed or somebody parking in front of their house, because that's not their property to begin with. And in many cases, especially on my block, someone has put in giant pilings, they're not little posts, and it literally blocks traffic because we are a dead-end street. The UPS and Federal Express trucks cannot turn around, so they have stopped going to the last houses on the street and have to carry the packages because they can't turn around. So it does not make any sense to allow private property owners to take over city land because that's not theirs. Everybody should know where their property line is. Also, when you have concrete driveways that come out to the asphalt, I have seen city crews coming to fix a burst pipe. the water is spouting, the sewage is boiling out, and they have to stop because they can't just take the claw thing and dig up the grass and get to it. But they have to bring in a concrete saw and spend an additional hour of time. That is an additional payment in overtime to cut through cement and remove it, and all the time the water's still gushing just because somebody extended a driveway over city right-of-way. So you need to look at what you are saying here. Because if you suddenly grandfather in everything that's out there right now, you've got a lot of things that are really illegal and really bad, and it doesn't make sense. It's been in the LDR for 30 years. Granted, the city has fallen miserably in its use to enforce that. The city is absolutely at fault because it just took a lackadaisical attitude. But there's a lot of that stuff that needs to come out because the right-of-way belongs to the city and therefore to the public. It is not private property. So y'all stop and think about what you're saying here. You want to grandfather a lot of this stuff in. Nothing permanent should be in the right-of-way. Nothing.
You got it?
Okay.
Well, I want you to have what you want to say, but we need to
Okay.
find the way this ends.
That's enough.
Okay. Yes, sir.
My name is Charles Tyree. I live on the corner of 5th in New Mexico. And I just like the city. Everybody is clear about the property being belonging to the city. There's no question about that. Everybody in the whole town is clear about that. As far as driveways being paved and everything, that's done by a permit that's approved by the city. Everywhere I've lived, all over the United States, where I've lived, if the city has to cut through your driveway, whether it be paved, whether it be gravel, whether it be concrete, they put it back the way it was. Everywhere I've ever lived, you have rights to get to the pavement. So that's kind of a different issue, I think. But as far as the temporary, and they are temporary. These posts only go 12 inches into the ground. You can pull them out in 15 seconds. So all of that is temporary. It's landscaping. It's not a fence. So there's specific things that can be addressed for parking. You know, for instance, the spurs that come off 98. Just a suggestion. The spurs that come off 98. You can restrict landscaping for the first 50 feet down the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and so forth for the golf carts to park. You know, that's an easy problem to fix. But the tractor trailers, the 53 foot, and I'm not talking about city trucks, I'm talking about tractor trailer trucks that turn around in our intersection. Like Darrell was saying, my property goes like 15 feet out into the pavement. That the trucks turn that, and they not only turn there, they turn all the way over and have damaged my property, back 30 feet into my property. So I'm asking for some help to try to actually protect my property. And as far as people parking on anybody's property, nobody wants a mud pit in front of their yard. Nobody in this whole town wants a mud pit. Mr. Mayor or even city council meeting, nobody would want somebody parking in their yard with a city property or not and making a mud pit in their yard. And it's ugly. It becomes a drainage issue because the mud's going to get into the drainage system. So there's reasonable ways to handle this. I've got the post on my property. The people across the street post on their property. I think it's very, very nice looking. It's a fishing village look that we all cherish here. And I just would like the council to consider, letting people do temporary landscaping like that. Concrete piles are a totally different situation. I agree with that. But a temporary thing that the city could easily remove, and if they had to remove it and dig a ditch for whatever reason, that's fine. The homeowner would be responsible for putting it back. You could have reflectors. You could have whatever you needed to mitigate any kind of liability and make it safe, and make it look nice, and should be satisfying to everybody. You know, I don't know if there's any reason just to have city property vacant all of the whole town just for the sake of having it vacant. You know, people like the landscape, they want to make the city look nice.
Yes.
And I think it's a reasonable thing to leave things the way they are. So that's my opinion. Thank you for your time.
You gonna steal that? Oh, where'd he go? Oh, he left, okay. Okay, anybody else? All right, I don't know what to even say. If anybody want, I guess, I just find it unusual, and I have to ask, so that would mean then that if I'm following right, no matter what's out there, it just stays, doesn't matter what it is. So if it's in there now, it just stays.
Up to this day.
Until the city needs to do work in that area, right? Until the city needs to do work in that area.
Right.
Utility work
If the
is
city has
sidewalks.
to do work, it has to be removed and be laid off to the side or whatever. It does not have to be replaced, except for driveways. I think driveways was a totally different issue years ago.
We like to say you get a permit for that.
Well, I know if you didn't need a permit, were you allowed to have just
Yeah, oh yeah.
driveway?
Well, when you get a development order, it's part of the process that they show you got to put in a driveway. And it, doesn't have to be concrete. It can be paver, concrete, rock. But it's still, like the gentleman said, the driveways are. That's just part of accessing your property. It's not. It doesn't mean you can't pull off the road, or you can't block the road. And I just want to say, anything that we grandfather, if that's the word, I don't like that word. But that's just saying that we're accepting of what's there today. We haven't fixed the problem. We haven't done any. I mean, we're taking the public's right away from using the right of way by saying that what's there, all these ropes, all these chains, all these pilings that are prohibiting people from using the city's right of way. But the next person, their neighbor, can't do it after today or next week. You think you got some emails? Wait till you do that.
We have allowed this all this time.
Oh, yeah.
We have allowed it.
I
We have
disagree.
allowed it. And it's like Jan brought up the other day, at the last meeting, she said, well, if this is all you got to worry about with all the other things, which is how it mostly got by everybody, is because we had so many things we were trying to focus on that were really important. You overlook the things that are not as important. That's kind of how it happens. I don't see how as a council we can say, how can we agree to do something that goes against the LDR? That doesn't even seem, should we be able to do that without changing it?
Well, it's been done for years.
But we didn't do it. The council didn't do it. The city
Yeah, we
didn't,
did.
the city didn't allow it. The city didn't know about it.
Ignorance.
The only one that I think knew about it was when Bruce called, and he got told what he got told, so. I mean,
That's true. There's no permission been given by the city, this council, or any council before this council. The only one that came up at the last meeting about Bob and Layla on that corner where the fire and police department, that one I can speak to. But there's no written permission or a little map or a chart or some kind of drawing that says this is what I want to do and it's been approved. There's none of that. just people doing it because they think that they don't want others to invade what they're calling or protecting their property. And it never would have been an issue, except now it is escalated to the point that it's at this table, and we're trying to find a way to appease these different property owners because they want to protect their property. But no, this city is not permitted any of that. So,
Just for additional context, every other city I've worked with, when they do permit somebody to use the right of way, more than just a driveway or something, it's a very formal looking contract, a few pages long. It says what they can do, and it says that the city can remove anything they want without any liability, and that there's no guarantees that it'll be able to be left there permanently. So that's the way it's approached. It's done that way intentionally to protect the city and to make it absolutely clear in those few instances who has formal permission versus other people that do things that are minor, that don't really rise to the level of code enforcement acting on them because they're just kind of minor, but the city hasn't permitted it.
that's what I was just saying. It does. The ones that I'm familiar with, there would be something that says, here's what we're proposing to do, signed off on, and they do. They don't just go out there and put it in there, and then we're supposed to say, oh, well, you shouldn't have done that, and then we act like we're doing something wrong. We're not doing anything wrong. It shouldn't be this table's place to fix what's already ours. It should be our property owner's place to do that. They know it's not their property. I don't know. I mean, I guarantee you, if we went out there and marked the street off on 38th Street and said, we're fixing to do some work here, and we were 3 feet over on their property, I guarantee you they'd know where their property line is. Oh, these flags are in the wrong place. I guarantee you. And they'd say something to us about it. We act like we're doing something wrong. Or we're not being a good government. I find that rather
Can I say something?
insulting, quite frankly. Yeah, sure.
I don't like speaking in public, but sometimes you just feel like you have to. Jan Van Arsdale, all I want to say is I want to live in a city where I feel like the city management, we have to abide by laws. I get that. But I think people are more important than land and laws. And where you can be gracious, I think you should. Where you have to live by the letter of the law and people are infringing on other people's rights. But I think all these posts and ropes, they're to beautify things and to protect what seems like our property, even though the city actually owns it. But if the city needs to use it, they're more than welcome to. But I think where you can be gracious and not live by the letter of the law, I think that's a good thing.
Well, if you go kind of with what you're saying, Jan, it's not just the city employees and trucks and utilities, and it's the citizens have a right to park on that. So what would be the difference in your situation and someone down on one of these dead-end roads where those people...
We have plenty of parking for anybody who needs to park near our property. Plenty of
But follow what I'm saying.
So then we should allow them to park on our grass? Or should we have put in gravel so they could park in front of our house? That makes no sense. If anybody wants to pull up in any of the multiple driveways we've got. I don't see where it's so egregious to have posts and a rope. Those ropes can be taken out immediately. The city can use that property anytime they need to.
It's temporary.
It is temporary.
It's always designed to be temporary.
Well,
temporary.
Explain temporary. If temporary lasts that
Temporary
long.
is something you can take a backhoe or a bobcat or pull it up.
Temporary to me would mean that you're doing it for a little bit and then you're going to take them out.
That, well, you have to decide what temporary
Because
means.
permanent means that they're put in and they stay there.
A permanent structure is something in the ground, permanent, that is in place, like a house.
Well, if they don't ever move, then they're not temporary, they're permanent.
No, that's what the city's already defined that, like a permanent structure that has a foundation or these temporary buildings.
We're not talking about structure.
I know, but you're talking about temporary versus permanent.
Temporary.
It's temporary, and it's landscaping, they're not permanent structures.
You know, y'all can be mad at me if you want to. I mean, whoever can be mad at me, because all of y'all sitting right there are my friends, and I hope we stay friends. You know, but even Lucretia got mad at me because she said, "Well, you got to give them some kind of explanation." I said, "The explanation is simple, sugar. It's in the LDR. You can't block access to that unless you get permission by the city to do that."
But I don't think we are blocking access to the city. The city can come.
You're blocking access to city property.
But what do you want to use it for?
I don't want to
You're-
use
you're
it. I don't want to use
going
it.
by the
I'm just
list
saying,
of
if somebody came down there, let's say the folks across the street had a party and it was big enough where there was no place to park except on your side of the road, they're allowed to park not in your driveways, but in the right of way that's in front of your house, on your grass.
Well,
I'm just saying.
I just think y'all, again, I think y'all are majoring in a minor issue that is just not.
But if you don't, that's why we're in this. That's why we're sitting here, is because we didn't catch this minor issue before it got way out of hand. Now that it's come to our attention, and we're trying to do what's.
Why all of this time until we put ours up?
It
Why all
wasn't-
of this time was it ignored, Daryl? Why has it never? You all hadn't noticed all the ones over on the beach side and
Well,
noticed
Jan,
all of
you're
them?
trying to single yourself out as,
No,
as
I'm
the
not.
victim. You're not the victim.
I don't feel like a victim. I feel like when we put ours up, all of a sudden the whole city
As
is a
I told
problem.
you, as I told you before, it came up about a week prior to you guys putting yours in. I was standing on your property talking to Jonathan about the ones that he was putting in on a road on one of the beach sides. You guys heard that conversation.
I didn't hear the conversation. You were talking to Jonathan, not me.
And what has that got to do with anything? Were you going to put it on the agenda because of that?
Yeah, it was already, I had already called and told to be put on the agenda so we could have a discussion about it.
Before ours went up.
Before yours went up.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, ma'am. I didn't even know yours was in.
Daryl.
I didn't know yours was in until like 2 or 3 days later. Honestly, I didn't know it was in.
I think you need to go check your dates of when we put ours in and when you put it on the agenda. Check.
Okay, here we go. Bill, you can have as much time as, I mean, whatever you want.
I don't understand, and I feel really bad that all of a sudden this is Daryl's the bad guy, and all I'm trying to do is, say it's right here, you can't do it.
Well, I think Nick has made the most important point of all of this. Common law is just, I mean, Mexico Beach isn't unique to this. You drive in other places, people wrote their property off. We're trying to take the Van Arsdales or this guy on Fifth Street and individual as if we're not being a gracious city. Well, just broke off your property. Just broke off your property. Just deal with what's yours and don't be upset with us because we said that you can't block what's not yours. I fail to understand how that's the letter of the law. No, I'm not a letter of the law guy. I think there are cases where you have to expand and look past the letter of the law. But I also have to look at the result of what we're proposing to do here And if we follow what Nick said was the most common way of dealing with that is that if there are exceptions and you want to present them and you say, here's why I want to do this, and our administrator or this city council wants to get down in the weeds with everyone that thinks they have a reason to do it, then we can do that. But as long as we just carte blanche say, even though we've had this rule for 30 years, it's okay, we just want to ignore it. Now, I think I just can't imagine that we would do that. I don't know.
Some additional perspective, what I see in other cities that may be a little different here. You don't have a lot of curbs, you don't have a lot of sidewalks, so that creates more of a clear division. But also, I do sometimes see small posts, easily removable items in other cities. There are some instances in Mexico Beach where the obstructions are large, they're difficult to pull out, and they're within inches of the asphalt. That's where you're kind of getting off in a different direction than what I would typically see in other cities.
All right, Bob, what you want to do? I mean, I'll get back to you. I think everybody here that wants to say something, I assume they said something. I don't know.
I think everybody's had good arguments. I cannot say they haven't. You're not the bad guy. Okay. But at the same time, I still go back to what I have looked at and what I have pictured. 5th Street, Bob's place up there. We have, for whatever the reason, had allowed this to happen. Where with the blind eye, we have. It is done.
We didn't allow it. If you just rephrase.
You didn't stop it. We did not stop it.
I didn't know it.
Okay, we did not stop it happening. Where it is known or seen or whatever. I still feel like, and I like to.
Yeah.
What?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Can I talk?
Yes, sir. I'm listening.
That's why I'm so getting mad at you. Don't let me talk.
No, you didn't hear what I heard. So.
Okay. I feel like we should, from this moment on, stop anything in easement. But what has been done has been done. We should go from here. So I'd like to make a motion. I know you don't like the terminology of grandfather, but grandfather was already in. So that's my motion.
How we going? Now, I want to just ask you. You talked about. So we're gonna go around and like take pictures of everything. Is everybody gonna remember what's here? How we gonna do that? How you gonna document that?
I think a lot of pictures have already been taken.
That's not the question. How's the city gonna know? I'm just asking you. How are we gonna enforce that? Just wait till somebody says, hey, they weren't here last month.
Well, kind of like building permits and whatever. It's something you have to do.
All right.
I got one little thing.
Well, you go right ahead. We don't want to leave anybody out.
This is going to be nice. And to me, sitting here listening to this, riding this horse that we've been riding for a while. I mean, we can say what we want to say and without blaming anybody, anything. This didn't come to a head, no matter what Darrell said. In my knowledge, let's just say what did. To Bruce did what he did. In that neighborhood, let's just put it that way. And to me, being what I reckon I could be like Darrell and say I used to be a businessman too. I wonder what it would take for Bruce and the city to come to a compromise. I believe if we compromise, the city and Bruce, I believe this would go away. But as long as we, as a city, going by the LDR, and then you, like Bobby says, on our roads, there's a lot of them. If it's nothing but a rock on a corner, or something to keep a semi or a car or a trailer from tearing up somebody's yard, there's a lot of them. A lot that you can, I'm not going to say half, but if you ride, you'll see a bunch of them, and then you'll see the cables, and you'll see the ropes. But I wish, and I do wish this, listening, if Bruce and the city would compromise something, I believe we could just move on. Now, whether Bruce wants to compromise and move his post back to his property, or the city wants to say whatever, when we make this motion or whatever we're fixing to do here, guidance to Tommy to tear down the man's post, or I'm sure not for that. I'm not for poor little Miss Connie up my road on Maryland. She's got rocks and landscaping, and it looks really good to keep trucks off her yard, and I really like that. But when if we're going to preach, let's preach to everybody. Let's preach to the choir. If one person does it, then I think we should let everybody up there. And I don't know how we can stop it, Bobby. I don't. God, it's going to be enforcing it. I think what the word they wanted you to tell you instead of what you use. Enforcing that language is. I wish you wouldn't come down to this as a council. I really don't like this being in this predicament. But I reckon to get this solved, this is something we have to do as a council. But I sure wish Bruce and us would come to some compromise. And then it would go away and nobody else would worry about it. Not unless there's some places that I don't know about this that people don't like. And I'm going by what I said last week. What's good for one is good for everybody. If we're going to pass a law, or we're going to enforce that law, and we're going to make everybody from Bob to Rob to Knob, if they got a rock in the yard on city property, we should make them take it off.
Trees and all.
Ever. If we're going to enforce, they'll be out.
I agree.
May I make one last comment?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I want to give everybody the table. Karen, is that, I didn't want.
Well, like Jerry said, you can't just single out certain people. That is not right. It just goes against everything I believe in. As a member of the council, I don't think that's our job, is to single out certain people too. We're going to go do this to this one because of this. Well, then it's going to have to be everybody. It can't be just picking out individuals to do something about their right of way and all of this. So, but it's all over the city. It really is. It's everywhere. You can't go any part of the city and not see somebody has done something in the east. Now, I don't care if it's what street you go to. Doesn't matter. Any of them. But it's everywhere. And in the LDR, it does say they can't do it, but they've been doing it for years. I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. And I don't think, I mean, you'd have to hire somebody full-time just to ride around the city and see who's doing what on the right of way, on the easement. That'd be a full-time job for somebody, just trying to enforce that. And I don't see that happening. I really don't know what the answer is, but I don't think people should just be singled out. It should be the whole city, everybody.
I want to, because of some things that have been said here today, the Van Arsdales are my neighbors. And I think not only today, but prior to this meeting, that I've had a few comments as if the mayor lives across the street and there's an issue. When I saw what had been done, I want to just make this as clear, as crystal as I can make it. When I asked Bruce about that, he said he had permission to do it. And I said, oh, me? From the city? Oh, yeah. I'm upset with the city. I think we need to maybe draw back here and look at if Jerry and there are others that think that this is the problem. I went to the city. I said, my goodness, why would we do that? Well, it started with Tommy, it started with the building department, and ended up with the code official, the administrator. The posts were in the ground. Our administrator didn't know a thing. No one in this city said, we better go get some authority on this. The face of our government did not know that that had been done until it was over. So this isn't a Bruce and Jan thing for Al. This is the city being responsible for that. We told somebody who took the initiative supposed to be asked whether or not, I don't know what questions they asked. I don't know that. I'm not privy to that. But I do know that in their mind they got permission to do it. So when I started asking around, I thought that we as a city, the responsible thing for us to do was to say, hey, we made a mistake and you can't do that. Well, what has turned out is, because we gave them permission, it appears now that it is being turned around as if, well, everybody else is doing it. Well, I totally disagree with that. Everybody else didn't ask. We didn't give another soul in this town except Bob permission to do that. So I thought we would go down there, which is what we agreed to do. Bruce said, I'm not taking them out. We said, fine, we'll take them out. And he said that at the meeting. I thought we as a city would go down there and correct our mistake and this thing would be over. But instead, it is turned around as if this table is trying to fix everything in this town that's wrong instead of just fixing what I consider to be a mistake we made. It's just really that simple for me. Now, you sitting back there saying whatever it is you're saying, Jan, but that is exactly what happened. I didn't have any animosity about what they did. I was terribly upset that this city, an employee of this city or employees gave permission to do it and didn't go seek what's the right thing to do here.
But Al,
So, just a second. So, I'm not trying to fix everything wrong. I'm trying to fix what the city did that I know of that we made a mistake with. It's really that simple. Okay. All right. So you want to? Come on. What you got?
Yeah, I do. What I don't understand is why, when we got permission, it crawls all over you. Obviously, that the city made the mistake, so you want to correct the mistake that we made.
That's right.
But why does it not bother you that the whole city is full of these mistakes of people who
They didn't
didn't
get
ask
permission to do it, and I've explained that multiple times. This meeting and last meeting, when we knowingly, supposedly, again, now we can get into weeds with what got asked. You heard what Tommy said last meeting. You heard what the building department people said about what you asked.
I can tell you exactly what was asked if you want to know. Tell them, Bruce, exactly what you asked.
So that's not it doesn't matter. I'm sitting here as a city representative being responsible for the city. So I just want to clear that up, that my intentions was to go to the city. When I went to the administrator, he said, what are you talking about? Well, I knew then we were in trouble. We city were in trouble. So I don't want this to be, this is not some, and I signed up to be responsible to take care of the city and the city business. And that's what I thought I was doing that day. I went to the city and said, my goodness, who did this? Why would we allow this? So, that's all. I just want to make sure that for it, because it seems to be that I'm maybe the gas behind the pedal. That is absolutely not at my neighbors, but at the city is where I'm upset with. And I thought if we corrected it, that would be the end. Yes, ma'am.
To know a thing and do it not, which is the omission. If you know something is wrong and you let it continue, then you're guilty. My point being is that the city has let this go for all these years and it's never been an issue. And now all of a sudden it is. And you keep saying, that it's not your fault, and not you personally. The city. It's not the city's fault. But the buck stops here. And we are taxpayers.
Amen.
And I just think it's awful that what this city has gone through already, and we've come together, the taxpayers of this city support this city. And we need all the taxpayers that we can get.
Okay.
That's all I
Thank you.
have.
All right, we're going to wrap. Yeah.
Real quick. Just one other thing. I agree with my wife here that the taxpayers, this is an expensive place to live. The Mexico Beach city taxes are expensive. So everybody that's doing this, again, is landscaping. It's temporary. It's easy to remove. I think it beautifies the city. I think the city looks a lot better the way it is now than it would be with a 20-foot piece of grass that basically can be turned into mud with one truck. Everybody is working hard. The individuals are spending a lot of money to help beautify their property and do this landscaping. If the council insists on a clear right of way, it's not even temporary. There's unbelievably a lot of stuff. The alley, I don't know the name of the street. The street I call the alley. That's one off 98. I don't know what the name is. Orlando. There's fences next to the pavement. There's flowers. There's trees. There's a lot of stuff that's on city property that doesn't hurt anything. I'm not complaining about it. It doesn't hurt anything. And these parks aren't hurting anything. They're not hurting anything. They are beautifying the city and keeping the fishing village genre. I think it's. I just wish you would consider that.
All right, here we are.
Nick, one more time for me. What did you say? Which time? I know you had which time?
Not everything.
If you were sitting where you are now, what guidance is? I think that's the word that people use here. Which way did you say we went?
Well, my guidance was that the city can remove obstructions from the right of way in all but a very few exceptions of cases. And to the extent that you want to devote city resources towards doing that's a city council decision. And as far as any kind of compromises, that's also a city council decision. There are different ways to approach this, but one approach is to go clear the right of ways.
We ain't got the manpower or the money. Not clear every one of them.
What's wrong with the approach we're taking now?
If we don't, only thing I
The
see.
letters went out, 48, that's not like there's thousands of them that you would be led to believe here that.
Well, I don't think Kathy didn't get but 15th Street. I'm Marty, probably 14th. I don't know how far she got. I mean, send out the letters. If we're gonna be fair to everybody, I'm for that, but.
Well, I mean, I'm serious. What would be wrong with the people in our town if they get a letter and say, hey, here's my case of why it's here, and it may be justified? I mean, I don't know. I never thought of us clearing the right of way. I never thought of taking 50 people and our workforce and just going driving through town doing it. I never thought of us doing that. I just thought of that we would let people give justification for why they want to do it. And if it's just simply, I don't want somebody parking there, well, I mean, you know, the gentleman here says the road's out, or his property marker's out in the road, well, there's, you know, I don't know that.
So are we only after the people that's got the post, and we're not worried
I don't
about
know
the
what we're
rocks,
after
and we're not
now.
worried about
I'll
the
be
trees and
honest
the
with
trash
you.
cans? Are we not really worried about the
I've
post?
already clarified what I was after. I thought, but I don't know what we're after.
I mean, I don't understand. I don't
So
understand.
bear with us, okay? Give us a chance.
No.
We're gonna try to figure
I'm
this
sorry.
out, okay? I don't know that I'm the one to do it, to be honest with you. Maybe somebody out there won't do it.
What
Seems like there's a lot of comments back there.
He's one of the guys on the agenda. What you want?
I already made the motion.
Can I hear it again? My mind is sort of been. Can you tell me what?
I made a motion that we should grandfather what's already done and enforce the ordinance from now on.
All right, motion on the floor, is there a second? Okay,
I second.
okay, we got a second? Motion second, further discussion?
Just for clarification before the vote, earlier you mentioned that the city would still be able to, in the future, to remove things to do work in the right of way. That's still part of.
Yeah,
the
right.
motion.
That's given. If it has to be removed, then it can be removed and not put back.
Nick, I've got to ask you, this motion, to me, is like saying it's okay to go 45 miles an hour even though you can't go 35.
The best way, assuming.
This has got ramifications beyond, so I need some help here before we vote.
If this does get the votes, the best way to handle this would be to put a small amendment into the LDR clarifying this. But at the very least, we'd want to adopt a resolution next meeting that puts it on paper, exactly what's allowed, what's been said, and gets it formalized.
I'm not sure I understood all that. It's a good way to do that.
So because we would be doing something that is different than what the land development code says, the best way to carry this out would be an amendment to the land development code. But the second best way would be to have a written resolution that has dates and will get filed appropriately. It'll be easy to find later. That would be the second best way to do it. I would suggest at least we do that. You're welcome to vote today, but we want to put this into a written form into a resolution after the fact.
So it'd be best to make a motion to do a resolution.
That's a good way to approach it, yes.
Okay.
I'll make one other comment. You got two ways to handle it, in my opinion. You either change the LDR or enforce the LDR. It's plain and simple what it means. And it can't be misconstrued. It's plain and simple. So you've got to change the LDR to allow it, and then enforce it and not allow it. And as a side note to my comment, I think it's bad for anyone to say that we have allowed it. Not seeing something going on is not the same as allowing it. I don't think anybody that would have seen it and really thought about it at that point. We've had so many big issues to handle, and we still have so many big issues to handle, that it's not something that just jumps on the radar. We're putting a lot of effort into making sure we do things right. We just went through the budget. We just dropped a percentage on the millage rate because we had a little extra money. So we're trying to lower the taxes for our taxpayers. I mean, we've got all kinds of issues. We've got everything. And it got by us. And to be honest with you, it's a code enforcement deal. I mean, but she's been so covered up with campers and people living here. I mean, it's not like we weren't paying attention. It just got by us, plain and simple. And if you want to be ill about it getting by us, you can be ill about it. But we hadn't seen anything. No one else has said anything about it. So the first that I found out about it, a fellow brought it to my attention. I went up there and looked, and I said, yeah. And I immediately called Gina, and I said, Gina, what's the right of way? She said, I'll get you some information, but generally it's 50 feet. And so that means 25 feet from the center is right of way, and you can't do anything on the right of way. So I can't, as a councilman, vote yes for something that's not allowed just because it's already been done. I asked Charles yesterday. I rode by and I told him, I said, you know, we've got a big issue going on with this. You might want to move that back to your property line. He said, well, here's my property line. That's when I found out that his property line goes 15 feet or whatever into the pavement. And I said, you can't do that. We're having a big thing. You might want to come to the meeting tomorrow so you can voice your opinion and whatever. But you got two choices, in my opinion. You either change the LDR or enforce the LDR. And I'm not for grandfathering anything in when it goes against what's the law that we are supposed to follow and enforce. Not that I don't understand why you're saying that. So there you go. That's my comment.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We follow through with that?
Okay.
Just trying to make sure you do what you want to do.
Well, I need to understand a little bit more here. Nick, instead of in what you're saying, instead of a motion or whatever, we should table this and put a resolution out.
You could, but the best approach would be to actually amend the land development code, which you probably want to vote on today, whether to instruct staff and I to prepare that amendment. You'll know at that point whether there's enough support to continue with this. So the vote would be similar to the motion you made, but to have us prepare the amendment to the land development code that would grandfather what's already there. That's what Daryl's discussing, and I agree. The best way to do this is to change the land development code if this is what you want to do.
What?
The best way to do this would be to change the land development code, like Daryl's saying.
Yeah.
So the motion could be to just direct staff and the attorney to prepare that amendment.
Direct the staff to amend
The land development code, and that would be by ordinance, but you would see the ordinance next meeting.
Well, let's just table it maybe till we know a little bit more what we're talking about. Until then,
I think right now that's the best thing to do.
I'm just.
I take a regular
everybody's
motion.
got a high.
I'd like to table it.
How, what we need to do, and let's just, if we can just stop everything till we can find out what we need to do. How's that? How about that? No, you.
I'm okay.
That's all I got.
It was just, it was a discussion item, it wasn't something that,
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
okay, so you're withdrawing,
I'm withdrawing my motion,
you're withdrawing it.
and then we table it to
We'll
discuss.
find out which was the best way to go.
Okay, moving on to, project list. All right, we've handled some of those. Mario, can you run down, I mean, I know that Ryan handled some of the ones, but is there any on there that maybe need an update? Credit card machine, for example, we got any, where are we there?
Those bids are due at the end of the month.
Okay, so that's coming up end of this month, that's pretty soon.
That's it.
Okay, down dredging, the expansion.
The additional boat ramp parking, Marty, did you say you was gonna get out bids on the 3 acres, is that what you told?
I've got to get,
Told us.
I've got to get a specification from Dewberry on to clear it, to root rake it and flatten it and do whatever. So I just need a specification from Dewberry. And then we'll get it out to bid.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me.
No, I'm fine, I'm just gonna run down here, we know the paving's in the works, we know the right of way, Tommy mentioned that they're backed up. While we have, is there anything to talk about on Highway 98 landscape? Refresh my memory.
DOT went through and did the inspection and found many of the oak trees not those past their floor, they call it floor level 1
Yeah.
on it. So we're going through with the contractor now, looking at basically a schedule of values of how many palmettos versus how many oaks were coming out, so the DOT is satisfied that they're getting the money.
Getting the money.
For the grant, yeah.
Okay. But we've done that with Lowland resurfacing. I talked to the guy, he called me today and said the weather, the rain is just, I mean, you got to have, you got two of his main paving guys are out with COVID, but it's on his list. And
That's
it's like he
where
hasn't
some
got-
of it's too thin.
Yeah, and they've identified how they're gonna do that. It's just getting him here to do it. I think Palm Park is, I don't,
Got anything going on? Yes, on.
I think that's the CDBG
For grant, I mean,
pier, all that, stormwater, I think we've kicked that, Tommy carried Creek Light, Sunset Park we talked about, and the debris removal, underwater debris removal. I don't
That's another grant. Now that we've got the debris that's in the water, now we go after a grant to remove the debris that's in the water.
Down to CDBG?
No, that's a, I think it's Nipwood.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. I'm not sure how you say that word. Okay, Nick, you got anything?
Nothing said.
Mario? Council?
What you was telling me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Back up.
Sorry.
Back up, oh, yeah.
I did want to mention Kingfish Tournament is this weekend. There's a captain's party on Friday, and then after that, the tournament is on Saturday. They would like to get permission. One-time only event. The way that this event works out is there are people that are fishing this probably from Caravel all the way to Destin that will come in with the boat, with the trailer, with the van, with their truck to drop off fish for the weigh-in. In order to keep there from being all these trucks and trailers turning around and going back out the same way, if the city would consider opening the gate for an exit only on the 38th Street.
Sure.
It would help the flow of traffic.
Well, why wouldn't we want to do that? It's a special event.
Yeah, and that's why I'm asking.
It
It's
needs
a special
to
event,
get the flow of it.
and I want to make sure y'all were okay with it.
Anybody object to it?
No.
No? Okay.
Is that it?
You sure was gonna go to
Oh,
where's Tumwater?
so the Corps of Engineers is doing a feasibility study for the stormwater for Mexico. The outcome of that meeting has been announced, and it's not exactly favorable. That what they determined was that there's only $5 million worth of homes that would be damaged within the city, and it would cost about $7 million to do the lock, according to their study. I would like to go to the Corps of Engineers in Mobile on Thursday and basically put in our 2 cents worth, because the data that I have from Gina and Kelsey on what was permitted in 2019 and what was permitted in 2020 on homes that were not actually elevated, but homes that stayed where they were and they fixed themselves, that value is more than $5 million. And if I can prove that to them and they raise that value over $7 million, we may get them to reconsider the feasibility study on that issue. So I'd like to get permission from the council for me to go over there and place that argument to them.
I certainly think you should be there. Stormwater and the possibility of that.
Good idea.
No problem.
No problem.
Something needs to be done, seriously.
Okay. All right, then Treco. I heard Sharon say nothing, Darrell said nothing. Any council comments?
I said enough.
I have too, but I'd like to tell Hurricane Tommy and Ken. We stayed out here at 3 o'clock that day, and then you come that afternoon.
Yeah.
Just to survey the town, show you what we do have problems with stormwater, but them two stayed out here. We got drowned together. But I want to tell them thank you. And for you coming out and Darrell riding by one time.
I went out 4 or 5 times, and thank you to the police department for pulling the trampoline off of Hector's flower.
And then I said Sandy's being out too, so we got a lot of people, but we got something to be proud of.
Yeah.
We do. And I want to tell Tom and Ken thank you.
Yeah, they went above and beyond.
All right. Motion for adjournment.
We'll move.
Thank everyone for coming.